Hi, this is Ghost Hunter Joe. Today's investigation took place at the Dalton Cemetery, located in Dalton, Ohio. This is the sign at the entrance to the allegedly haunted cemetery. My grandson, granddaughter-in-law, and great-grandson live in Dalton, and my wife and I visit them on a fairly regular basis. While searching the internet for allegedly haunted places to investigate in the Dalton area, I came across a website which claimed that the Dalton Cemetery is haunted. This is a screenshot of that internet account, which claims the cemetery is haunted by two men and one woman. This is a picture of my grandson Jake on the left and I at the Crybaby Bridge located just a few miles away at Rogues Hollow in Doylestown, Ohio, which we visited just prior to visiting the Dalton Cemetery. In July 2022, my grandson Jake, his wife Courtney, and his friends Dustin, Dakota, and Bethany, and I went ghost hunting at the Dalton Cemetery. This is a photograph that I took of the group at Rogues Hollow prior to our going to the Dalton Cemetery. Pictured from left to right are Dustin, Jake, Dakota, Bethany, and Courtney. This is a picture of my K2 meter, which I purchased in 2019. K2 meters detect EMFs. EMF stands for electromagnetic fields. The theory behind EMFs in ghost hunting is the belief held by many paranormal investigators that spirits are comprised of electrical energy which can be detected by an EMF detector. So when the lights on the detector light up in an allegedly haunted location and there's no other explanation, it is reasoned that the spirits may very well be in the area. Unless investigating a famous person or a specific urban legend, when we investigate at a cemetery, we typically start by walking up and down the rows of headstones while holding the K2 meter and asking any ghosts or spirits in the area if they'd like to talk with us, and, if so, to touch the meter. If and when the meter lights up, we set the meter down at the nearest headstone and attempt to talk with them, usually asking, "Is this your headstone?" It was no different when we investigated at the Dalton Cemetery. As we walked past this headstone of a little girl named Evelyn, I saw the K2 meter flicker, so we stopped and I placed the K2 meter at the base of the headstone. Noticing the Blessed Virgin Mary statue at this grave, I asked Evelyn if she was Catholic, and the K2 meter registered a 3 out of 5 lights. It lit up again when Courtney commented that the alleged ghost's birthday, August 7th, was the same as her son's, my great-grandson's. Since Evelyn had indicated that she was Catholic, I placed this crucifix at the base of her headstone and asked her if she liked it, and she immediately responded by lighting the K2 meter up to a 5 out of 5. Since Evelyn was a young girl when she passed, I figured she might want to play some games with us. I placed a yellow ball at the base of her headstone and asked her if she could try to roll it or knock it off. All 6 of us noticed what appeared to be the ball wiggling, and when I asked her if she was trying to move it, she flickered the meter to a 3 or 4, and then to a 5 out of 5 when I asked if rolling the ball was just too hard or took too much energy. We asked Evelyn if she'd like to play a coin toss game using these wooden coins that my wife made with pluses on one side and minuses on the other side. Similar to the standard coin toss at the beginning of a football game, we toss these wooden coins out of sight and ask the spirit playing the game with us if the coin landed with a plus or minus facing up, as opposed to heads or tails. Due to possible confusion with other ghosts with which we have attempted to play this game, I explained that we were not asking her to predict how the coins would land, rather to look at them after they have landed, out of our sight, and to let us know whether they landed with the plus side or the minus side up by flickering the K2 meter. Jake, Dustin, Dakota, and Bethany each tossed a coin into the darkness, and to our amazement, Evelyn correctly identified how the coin landed 4 out of 4 times. We also played another game with Evelyn using this ordinary deck of playing cards, which I purchased a while back for ghost hunting. We asked her to identify cards drawn from the deck by flickering the K2 meter and to indicate whether the card was red or black and identifying the number and suit. The first card drawn from the deck was the Four of Spades. Evelyn correctly flickered the K2 meter, indicating that it was black as opposed to red, but did not seem to understand what we were asking when we asked her if it was a spade or a club. But she did light the K2 meter up, indicating that it was a 4. The next card was the Three of Spades. Evelyn correctly identified it as black and then as a 3. The next card was the Jack of Hearts. Evelyn correctly identified it as red. When I stated to the group that I didn't know what number to call the Jack, Evelyn lit up the K2 meter when Jake suggested the number 11. I then asked if she knew what I meant if I referred to face cards, and asked if it was a king, queen, or jack, and the K2 meter lit up when I mentioned jack. Bethany looked up Evelyn's name over the internet with her iPhone and found this article from the Canton Repository. We learned from the article that Evelyn played the piano. I asked her what kind of music she liked, and the K2 meter lit up to a 5 out of 5 when I mentioned classical. We also learned from the article that Evelyn's parents' names were Chad and Jennifer. I asked Evelyn to spell out her father's name using the K2 meter as we hovered it over the letters A through Z written on this piece of cardboard. She spelled out Jenny, her mother's name. Though we asked her to spell her father's name, I was still impressed when she spelled out her mother's name. Intelligent responses like this do not just pop out of thin air. With regard to why she spelled her mother's and not her father's name, maybe she misunderstood me and thought I asked her to spell a parent's name. Or maybe she read my mind. It was my intention to ask her to spell her mother's name after she spelled her father's. Our ghost hunting adventure came to an abrupt end when I mentioned that I thought I saw a shadow figure moving across the cemetery about 4 or 5 rows away from us. Upon my mentioning this, everyone in our ghost hunting party suddenly wanted to leave. Disappointed that we didn't get any videos or photographs during our visit in July due to all the members of our group being camera shy, in November 2022, I convinced Jake to return to the Dalton Cemetery with me. This is a picture of me taken in November next to the cemetery sign. This is a picture of Jake taken in November standing between 2 random graves at the Dalton Cemetery. This is a picture of Evelyn's grave taken that night in November 2022. The following video clip recorded that night documents our attempts to get Evelyn to react to us on camera. As the viewer will see, apparently she was camera shy too. Hello, Evelyn. This is Jake and Joe. Remember us? If you remember us, light up this K2 meter that Jake's going to put down by your headstone. Can you light it up for us? Light it up to let us know you remember us. Can you make the light flicker for us? You did the last time we were here. You don't have any energy? You don't want to talk to us? You don't want to talk to us? Okay, we'll talk to somebody else. Is the Dalton Cemetery haunted by the ghosts of 2 men and a woman? Though we did not gather any evidence to that effect, I did see a shadow figure moving across the cemetery during our first visit in July. What about Evelyn? I must admit, I've never had a more intelligent reaction by any alleged ghost while ghost hunting. In July, she responded to our questions with the K2 meter. She correctly identified 3 out of 3 playing cards. She correctly identified 4 out of 4 coin tosses. And she spelled out her mother's name, Jenny, with the K2 meter and cardboard with letters on it. But on the other hand, she did not seem to react when Jake and I returned in November. Was she tired from ghost hunters and curiosity seekers visiting the cemetery on Halloween just a few nights earlier? Or did she just not want anything to do with us? Or did other ghosts scold her after our first visit, telling her it's not proper to interact with the living? We may never learn the answers to these questions. In the meantime, this is Ghost Hunter Joe saying goodbye and happy hunting.